30 days ago, I did something that most people said was impossible in 2025. I completely disconnected from the internet. No social media, no streaming, no Google searches, no GPS. Not because of what I missed, but because of what I found. Have you ever wondered what your mind would be like without the constant digital noise? What thoughts would emerge if you couldn't immediately distract yourself with a screen? I thought I was conducting an experiment about technology. I ended up discovering something much deeper about what we've lost as human beings and what's still possible if we're brave enough to disconnect. For an entire month, I lived like it was 1995, but in a world that had moved on without me. What I discovered wasn't just shocking, it was terrifying. Let me be completely honest with you. I didn't start this experiment because I'm some digital minimalist guru. I started it because I was scared. Scared that I'd become addicted to something I couldn't even name. Scared that my attention span had shrunk to the size of a TikTok video. We've normalized digital dependency so completely that we don't even recognize it as dependency. When was the last time you went a full day, not even a week, just one day without checking the internet? If that question makes you uncomfortable, you're not alone. Scared that I was living my life in other people's highlight reels instead of creating my own story. The breaking point came on a Tuesday morning. I woke up and before my feet hit the floor, my hand was already reaching for my phone. I checked Instagram, then Twitter, then email, then back to Instagram, all before I'd even brushed my teeth. I realized I hadn't had an original thought in hours, maybe days. Sound familiar? That compulsive reaching for your phone, that anxiety when you can't find it, that feeling like you're missing something important even when nothing important is happening. We've normalized digital dependency so completely that we don't even recognize it as dependency. When was the last time you went a full day, not even a week, just one day without checking the internet? Never before have human brains been exposed to this level of constant stimulation, infinite scroll, and algorithmic manipulation. We're the test subjects and we don't even know what we're testing. If that question makes you uncomfortable, you're not alone. Our ancestors might have encountered a few dozen people in their entire lifetime. We see thousands of faces before breakfast. We're processing more data in a week than previous generations processed in years. Here is what nobody talks about. We are living through the largest uncontrolled psychological experiment in human history. Our brains are still wired for a world of scarcity, scarce information, scarce social connections, scarce entertainment. Now we live in a world of infinite abundance, and our ancient reward systems are completely overwhelmed. The average person in 2025 consumes the equivalent of 174 newspapers worth of information every single day. Most people can't answer that question because they're not consciously looking for anything. They're just scrolling, seeking some undefined satisfaction that never comes. We've created a generation of digital zombies, and the scariest part is how normal it feels. But here's the terrifying part: we're not evolving fast enough to handle it. Think about it: when you're scrolling through social media, what are you actually looking for? Before the internet, boredom was a feature, not a bug. Psychologists now understand that boredom is when our brains do their most important work, consolidating memories, making connections, generating creative insights. The phrase "I am bored" has almost disappeared from our vocabulary because we have eliminated every moment of mental downtime. Our ancestors had what researchers call default mode network time periods when the mind could wander, reflect, and process. This is when we develop self-awareness, empathy, and original thinking. But we've filled every spare moment with digital stimulation. They ask, will this technology strengthen our community and our connection to what matters most? We've forgotten that the most important conversations happen not with others, but with ourselves. How can you know who you are if you never spend time alone with your own thoughts? When's the last time you asked that question before downloading an app or joining a platform? We listen to podcasts while walking, scroll while eating, watch videos while falling asleep. The Amish have a concept called jalasenhata, yielding or letting go, that creates space for deeper wisdom to emerge. They're not anti-technology. They're pro-intentionality. Indigenous cultures understood that silence and solitude weren't empty spaces to be filled, they were sacred spaces where wisdom could emerge. We've forgotten that the most important conversations happen not with others, but with ourselves. How can you know who you are if you never spend time alone with your own thoughts? So I went completely offline: flip phone for emergencies, printed maps, physical books. I woke up without anxiety about what I'd missed. I actually tasted my coffee instead of scrolling. I noticed morning light, bird sounds, the texture of silence. The first 48 hours were pure withdrawal. My hand kept reaching for a phone that wasn't there. But day 3 changed everything. By day 7, my mind started wandering, not anxious digital overwhelm, but purposeful creative thinking. Original ideas emerged from my own experience, not reactions to others' content. Week 2 brought the breakthrough without likes and shares. I had to rediscover what I actually enjoyed and valued, terrifying and liberating. Have you noticed how different you feel in nature, away from screens? That's your nervous system returning to its natural state. Day 15, I wasn't temporarily offline anymore. I was becoming someone who didn't need constant connection, reading entire books, having deeper real life conversations. I wasn't becoming a hermit, I was becoming more human, more present, more aware. The digital world had been static between me and reality, like sunglasses I didn't know I was wearing. Tech executives send their kids to screen free schools. Successful people have analog habits. They know your attention is your most valuable resource, and whoever controls it controls your life. Every scroll is a tiny escape from the present moment, from our own thoughts. How much of your attention did you consciously direct last week versus what algorithms captured? 30 days offline revealed this. We're addicted to avoiding ourselves. The internet promised connection but delivered isolation, promised information but delivered confusion. We're more connected yet lonelier than ever. If a week offline makes you anxious, you're not free. Day 25. My old life was designed by others. Every app, platform, algorithm was created to capture and monetize my attention. I'd regained sustained attention, deep thinking, comfort with solitude, basic human capacities we've traded for the illusion of productivity. I wasn't living my life, I was living in others' digital constructions. Your attention is finite, your life is happening now. What would change if you treated your attention as the precious resource it is? The internet became a tool I used, not an environment I lived in. Day 30, I'd remembered what it feels like to be fully present. When I reconnected, I did it intentionally, chose platforms, notifications, tools that served my goals. You don't need 30 days offline to benefit. Just create spaces where you're alone with your thoughts, present in your experience. The question isn't whether technology is good or bad, it's whether you're using it or it's using you. Your attention is finite, your life is happening now. What would change if you treated your attention as the precious resource it is?